Yeah, I took a major break there because my computer died, and I just went to the tablet and I went to the laptop. So I just been living off the tablet, which I didn't think I could do because of the touch nature. That if you go to tap and it thinks you double tapped, and the anger there is not, you don't get that kind of anger on the mouse. So it's a little bit, but it actually, you have to write very small orders. All my orders are 1Ks because of that on the tablet. I don't want to ever end up in a situation where the tablet flips out and you start loading stuff you didn't intend on loading. So I uploaded the indicators I'm using here, and there's a major bug that I transferred from the old files. Unfortunately, I brought them over. And that wasn't a good thing because I didn't realize, when it's asked that question, do you want to overwrite them? I'm like, yeah. And somehow it's contaminated with this bug. And you have to take out inside, if you're going to build a cloud, which I did here, a blue and green cloud, blue down, green up, that you have to select this specific piece of code here. So anything that says HAS, all that, you got to double check and make sure that it has, it can't say mode. When you get to line 85, it can't say mode on any of these spots. You got to change these all to price. But don't let MetaTrader try to help you. Well, it's going to try to help you. If you put in price, it's going to attempt to say, oh, you want to complete that? Oh shit, wrong key. The dark on my tablet here, it's not working out. Okay. So, if you put in price, if you start it, oh, fuck it. Let's go back to the original. You have to put price in there. Trust me. It'll say like price underscore open and stuff, but this is a smoothed out cloud. And this 3.2 means that we're using a method of 3. So in the method window, your method is going to be 3 for both. And I guess it's smoothing on top of smoothing, I'm not sure. This is the period, so very tight. 2-period moving average, essentially. But method 3, I think, might be like smooth, because they're going with like simple, exponential. It's the same way they list them in the choice. Exponential, then linear weighted, then something else. There's 4 modes available, methods available. So, it's for people that you can make money trading it, because you have to enter when the volatility has dried up and there's no volatility. You have to get in during no volatility in the price pulse of the last cloud, or you're inside of, you got to pick a trade plan that's going to fit the dynamic range of whatever time frame you're on, that you're going to get in on something. And then you're going to get out of something immediately. I'm going to get out of something because you cannot ride a 100 pip win without a 5 pip pullback. So you're going to have to find some way to leg into it where you're not totally committed. So you kind of have to, well, for me, I can't just step in there on some. I do have one that has a $5 risk. So I have a 50 pip stop to make 100 pips. They pull the trigger on that. And I would just naturally put in a 3 pip deep order after that, because why would I buy another one? It's obviously the dumbest trade in the world is trading at the market. I just don't know who's babysitting this shit to nail the entry. The window's there. You have to trust and believe they're going to raid or stop hunt, whatever you may think whatever you think's going on. Like you think maybe the flat earthers are coming after your orders or something. This stuff you see these people talk about, you just got to wonder, like, wow, so take the guns away from them, like, because they're going to shoot themselves accidentally. So, but when the volatility dries up, it's time to say, I have a trade plan for that. And so I've been running this non-directional entry system. In Asia, I will load the wagon on hedges in Asia and I've been doing it on 3 currencies here to test out, can I just trade that one? It doesn't make the best money, but because it's literally has the possibility of getting trapped, although I'm running like 12 to 13 versions of a breakout. So I'm just saying if the market goes up 2 pips, I'm in. So I have a symmetrical bracketed time decayed trade plan. It's like 2 to 12 hours. Stacking up buys and sell stops like a true goober would. It's a total goober trade. And it's actually non-directional. So I'm making money because the ratios are pretty hefty, like 4 times your money. Most people try to do break even, but if it really takes off in one direction, like if you're good enough at like when to nail it, now you can build a position over every half hour. You're dropping a order that lasts 6 hours, before you know it, you're in a 66K. And then the market just goes berserk and you're making money because you didn't have to pick the direction, you just picked the dynamic range entry. So you're waiting for the lull to enter. Like who's talking over somebody? You have to wait till them to shut the fuck up, then you're going to talk. Like I wish they would shut the fuck up, right? Or you just speed them up. Too bad you can't do that in real life. Like somebody's boring you to death and like do the fucking YouTube trick. And I was just watching No Nonsense guy and I'm like, oh fuck me. I had to put him at the perfect spot for him is 1.74 75, because right there he is like, wow, because he repeats everything. Gives you 8 versions of it, like your IQ is like fucking sub-zero. Who is this? But then people want to be a prop trader. They want to be like a guy that manages a bunch of money. And I guess that's the job people want. He's saying. So he's saying. But for me, it's always been a kind of like a do-it-yourself project, kind of like sex, I mean, who's inviting people over for that? I mean, maybe one person. But who wants oh, come on, everybody. I don't know, but it's personal, and I just don't he works at a prop firm, dude. It's people and he has a podcast, so that's how he got all those people. I figured out because his Apple podcasts, like people are like, oh yeah, the financial channel, so he just promotes it, and But he did a supply and demand thing. He's saying that all markets are different. I don't think so. Look at a corn market. Like, can you honestly tell me that the commodity market looks any different than a forex market? It's just markets, right? Anyways, I'll get sidetracked. It's just insane. It's just so insane to think that there's only these. The only reason the so-called big boys make money is because they're really not. Like if they make 20% a year continuously, yes, they're making more than a retail guy that's making 3,000 and then blowing it up and making. But who's making more money, right? Who's making more improvement? They're floating a big giant chunk of money. They can't afford to jump in and out of the markets. And besides, there's such it's not a binary world where there's a guy who's long and then all these retail people are short. It's a fucking whole goddamn giant marketplace. There's people scalping, people in for 40 milliseconds, people in for 40 days. I mean, there's got to be, if it's supposedly $5 trillion a day going through there, and 1.5's going through the euro dollar. I mean, there's got to be all sorts of transactions that have nothing to do with the guy staring at some fucking Ikamushu cloud. There's just no fucking way. I mean, when people say shit like, "Oh yeah, well the Ikamushu cloud works really good on the yen," dude, are you fucking kidding me? I mean, you're serious, right? Like, I guess triangles work good on the yen too, right? I mean, any market when it's the right time frame, but if it's a really thin market, and the no nonsense guy, he's writing for the crude oil market. I got an algorithm for. Well, you just got to move the math. Yeah, the decimal point's in a different spot, so. You know, recalculate but to actually think you're going to model the market, it's the most fucking hilarious thing in the world. It's like trying to build the perfect girl. Well, I'm just going to model all the perfect girls and all the perfect personalities, put a composite together. Dude, it's a one-trick pony. It's too fragile. It doesn't adapt. You got to be able to fucking say, okay, I can see the market going up. I can see it going down. What would I do if it went up? What would I do if it went down? Is there anything I can do before it goes up or down? I mean, seriously, how afraid do you have to be pulling the trigger if you're going to overanalyze the fucker with 20 indicators and try to build some algorithm? No, you got to have the shoot from the hip fucking. You got to be like, okay, I could trade with a 100 pip stop. If you put a gun to my head and go, dude, you got to trade today. You're using a 100 pip stop. Find a place to get in. You can still scalp it and make 10 and get the fuck out. You don't have to ride the whole fucking thing. I mean, if you put a 100 pip stop in, end of the world stop, okay, I'm risking $10. I mean, you would never feel like, is that going to blow your brains out? But when it's down 5 and it still looks like a good buy, you're going to buy some there. Hopefully, right now you're risking 20 technically. But there's no other way to do it. You can't say there's a Fibonacci handle at X. It's just insane. When you really think about how insane that is, sure, it may hit that sometimes, but if there was a way you could objectively say, how many bars back do you go? Fibonacci, you go 34 bars back, and I start my fibs there regardless. Because you can't just compress data to the way you like it to look and create fictional entries. You can, but one ticket at one fucking price? There was this guy I was watching earlier who was doing 5 entries. He did 5. Yeah, because I saw him shorting. I go, you're going to short here? Dude, this is like fucking fresh lows. And he said, I'm planning on selling if it goes higher. And he did. He's 5 sales he got in. They're all winners. He got out like just slightly up on his first bad entry. You just scale in like that. But if you're going to backtest this, you really need to backtest that. You should be able to see right now in every fucking market, every hole that goes back where the price has not been, where it's going to be a big deal if it goes into that zone. On every market. I mean, when gold, the supply and demand thing, gold, he's doing this, it's so goof. I mean, do you really think that all of a sudden there was like a scarcity of gold when gold spiked to almost $2,000? Like people, no, it just poured in there. People just bid it up. The supply never changed. Wasn't driving the market. It was actually like nobody knew. They're like, holy shit, 1,200. They're like, oh my God. And it just becomes this huge hole in the sky that gets sucked. The price just gets sucked through it. I noticed Bitcoin's calmed down. Bitcoin's like in wave 4 now. So, Bitcoin's the new deal. I finally cracked the code on Bitcoin. I was able to get that hooked up. I thought I was going to kill myself. It was like first time your car talks to you or something. You just want to take a hammer to it. Your door's ajar or something. But yeah, so I uploaded the stuff I'll be doing here if I don't run out of disk space. Supposedly I'm recording this to the flash drive. Another unbelievable thing of life is that you can have that much space on a fucking something the size of a Kellogg cornflake. It's kind of disturbing. But anyways, this is the original code this guy wrote, and somebody did talk about the bug in this thing, but I think we straightened it out. You just got to put price in that window. I hope that makes sense. It's got to say price in the end, all the way through here. Line 85. Because each one's fucked up. So I've been running that because I wanted to get that to look pretty on the chart. So before I started recording here, I just kind of went for the obvious crossovers and the 1 period moving average. So I put a 1 period moving average on top of the bars, and therefore I can see where I can draw a trend line. The first failure swing here, you're allowed to draw a trend line if you're going to do a rule-based technical analysis with trend lines. I'm just using it like a miter box here as you march across what we expect here. I would have bought this here had I placed the limit. Now this is the big problem with trading, is you've got to place the orders. Here, obviously a nice, I think this is a 10 pip grid. So, but I got a lot of templates in here, but I warn you, all the ones that say HAS, you have to double check that. Okay, so 10 pip grid there. So in this 10 pip window, somebody, I guarantee you, bought that giant, that's like a 3-hour, 4-hour basement right there. And that would have been me. I would have had a trolling bank in here. So I do have that ticket available. I'll relaunch it right now. So let me get to the scripts here, which is the meat of the situation. So I guess I was just kind of talking and okay, so I uploaded this whole thing. Now this is pretty severe because I got everything in here actually. It's it's quite loaded up. Now on the tablet I'm not running these because you really need to drag and drop these. You can't double click these. But let's just say, for instance, and this broker's letting me trade the hell out of this account. So, well, not this broker, but the other one. If I go like this, this is a 20 pip stop to make 30 pips. And I can place this exactly where I want. But the ones I've been running on the tablet are double click, hard coded. So I can place this right here and say, I'll buy new lows here. And if I put this to a bar, a candlestick, it'll be just arrows instead of balls here. So I could buy that. It's very narrow. It's 1 pip apart there. Here's a big canvas order. It's very complicated in the sense that each one of these kind of fulfill a different purpose in the sense of, well, what are you looking to do? Swing trade it? You know, you're going to put in this cover 40 pip area with a 5K logarithmically, so you're going to have like a martingale effect there. 8 hours, 60 pips stop to make 80 pips. And, you know, if the market was going to be open for another, I mean, it's kind of over. You know, this is Thursday, so Friday, it's like, this looks like it's going to go north. I'm long this thing. So I'm going to have to put it here because I have to capture, now this is 40 pips. Now that is pretty low risk. That's going to be $30. You're risking $30 here. So it's 30 to make 40. So I put the last number there on these particular scripts, these drag and drops, which I only run these on a trackball because I can drop them with some precision, like I can come in here like this. So I can just populate this whole area with limits. And this is like the market maker concept of trading. You're going to buy. You can also make some bullshit argument that, look, it's going to come down into the channel here I projected. So, you know, the nice thing about angular lines, it lets you kind of have it any way you want. Unfortunately, the candlesticks are on top of the line, so you got to go to here and turn this thing to here and put chart on background to get rid of that problem. Okay, so here I'm buying, and I'm already long, and the spread here is like 2 pips, I think, on this broker. No, it's pretty bad. Wait, oh, this is fucking guppy. Yeah, it's like hard coded here at like 10 pips or 6 pips on this broker. So just ignore that. Just look at the bid. You'll feel better. The guppy is just wide. I don't trade the guppy with my money, but this demo here. So 36 pip range here. Now these are all unique situations. Here's 50 pip stop to make it's $50 to make 50 pip bucks. If it plays out without stopping you out, if you spread these 10K over 36 pips, you really have a hard stop of about 14? It's a 10 pip zone, so what is that? Yeah, you take 1 off of this. It's a 26 pip stop. Hard stop on the whole rack, 26, because when you get to the bottom there, you're 50. So you're 50 deep from here, 10 from that. Yeah, so you'd have to do the math of that whole thing. I don't know if you're going to get filled. I mean, this is the most outlandish ticket is 50 pip range, 10K, super tight stop. So 10, you're going to get stopped out every 10 pips. So basically what you're saying is, fuck him, I'm buying it again. Now, there's nothing wrong with that because you're going to keep your equity from getting totally annihilated. So if you bought to here, you put a stop, but then you rebought, you put a stop. It's like you just saying, well, fuck, let's just put a master stop down here. Oh shit, this is on edit mode. I don't want it to be. So to stop that, you got to come up here and say options. You have to go to charts and say make sure I have to hold down the Alt key, otherwise you'll drag your tickets around. All right, so back to this nonsense. So these are all, just so unique, and you really have to think about these drops because you have the chance to think about it. It's not hard coded. You could put it here or you could put it down Disneyland. No fucking way is that market coming down here in 1 hour. So you gotta also try to, if you're gonna catch a falling knife, which is what you're doing here, is you have to think about the speed of the knife and how many fingers you've got. And here you can put about 150K in, and maybe you only get filled on 70K. Who knows? Or you got enough money that you can survive it. And if there's not a dead cat bounce in there, that's where these kind of like bad ratios come in here. Like, so here's a 20 pip range is 7K. It's pretty hefty. You risk 40 pips to make 20, but you're more likely to make your 20 with a 40 pip stops. You're risking $28 to make $14. So inside of here, also we have the hotkeys. These are just, I had these set up for the keyboard because MetaTrader will take Alt and Control as hotkeys. You're allowed 72 hotkeys because you're allowed the alphabet. Alt, alphabet, both ways. And then here's another limit drop. Now these are just single drops. I mean, it's really up to you to figure, well, what kind of, how much patience do I have to lay in, here's a 15 pip stop, and these are all limit drops, so if you put it above, it's going to be a sell. These are just non-directional in that sense. So it's very complicated. In other words, you have to look at what's going on inside of these things. But it says LD, limit drop. And I tried to make this, the reason why I don't write limit drop is because on the tablet I want it to run very narrow. So when I hold the tablet vertically, I can trade vertically and just say, I double click and it comes in like this, and it just doesn't take up much space. Then we have the, these are, when it says buy drop, it means that it's a 10 pip stop to make 20 pips, and it lasts for an hour. So if I place it here, it's a buy stop. If I place it here, it's a buy limit. This changes the approach because now you're going to say, oh, I'll do a little confirmation and I'll do a little bit of market maker entry. Buy down here in the vacuum. You can make all sorts of claims. That kind of right there, you kind of have to delete all those things. Start over. Now you're on a bigger trade plan here. So here, the 4-hour chart, just for instance, the guppy. Obviously this is the big. The institutions are selling up there. I think everybody's getting the fuck out there. Besides, there is a giant hole there that goes back, and that's kind of obvious, right? It goes it's insane, right? It goes way back in here. But look at all the trading on. Look at all the approach avoidance trading here. That's worth tons of money. No need to feel like you have to be in this fucking trend here and just keep on plugging it from the long side, because these are some tremendous counter trend moves here. They're just mind blowing. I mean, that's 4-hour chart compressed. Once you do shit like this, you lose your mind. You're like, oh, I wish I was short here. I would have just, look, it's in a downtrend here. Everybody's selling. What else? So I think it depends what time frame you can handle. So here we would have rebought this on limits, and it punches up. Okay, so this is just, I've got like every market in this one. So I'm just going to run through the markets, just curious. Oh, wait, I guess not. Wait, oh yeah, no, here. I think I have like 32 instruments in here, something like that. Got a real simple. So this is the original template MetaTrader has. This is kind of nice, very clean. I would just put a pip grid on top of this so I could know what's the size of these doji bodies. And the trade plans that I was mumbling about in the beginning is, if you just did a goober entry here, you put a buy stop here because everything's calming down. You're seeing dojis, which means you should be trading. You could be. I guess you shouldn't have to do anything, but like either you're going to run, if you're a confirmation guy, you're going to do a cancel replace every day. Cancel replace, sell stop, sell stop. Oh, you got filled. What do? Well, maybe your initial stop's way up here. Yeah, you tighten your stop and you write it down like a good goober, and you're on the daily chart. And when you get to here, you're better than break even, right? Because you sold here on a stop, you got the doji signal, you took it. I mean, you really think you back test that and you're going to say, well, yeah, you know what? I did the same trade plan here and it just kind of just didn't really, it didn't really do too well. You're going to, we'll see, yeah, oof. But you did if you had 48 tickets on each side, because some of those tickets are going to make that amount. And let's hopefully that you're painfully aware of this giant hole here that they dip into. And they can't get it to here now. Disappointing for the guy that has the buy limit here. But even the goober that has a buy stop trailing here to go counter. Just a stupid trade plan like this. Buy stop. Well, it looks like it would work everywhere. No, not here because you get trapped, right? But you're trading multiple tickets. Look how perfect this little cute candle is. Candlestick trading doesn't work. Yeah, it does. You have to have a trade plan for these little baby candles. This big fucking candle, dude, it's like the ship sailed. You want to jump on there, you're going to have to put your, technically speaking, this technical, people, dude, from just a goddamn money management classic standpoint, if you're short that thing, you got a trailing stop here, you cancel replay, they don't stop you out till here. Can you fucking believe it? They don't make a higher high. They don't make a higher low. Sorry. I knew that would fuck me up. They don't make a higher low. They never take out the highs. They never make a high. They make, and look at this last spinning top dumb shit entry. From a non-directional standpoint, you got filled on the south side. What the fuck are people talking about with this? You got to have a bias. What the fuck happened to your brain? Have you not ever looked at these fucking markets? The no-nonsense guy, I'm just going to blow my brains out. Was everything with the indicator? Does he have an indicator on his breakfast in the morning? Well, there's not enough volume in the corn market. I'm not going to have any oats. I'm not going to make cornbread tonight. Is he running a fucking moving average on his oven? Look at the things kind of not climbing. What the fuck? I mean, you really want to think that this price pulse, this drama on the Australian dollar on the daily chart is somehow that you can curve fit a fucking algo to that? How many entries does this fucker have on that? Yeah, I get the fact that you could take little chunks out of the market, but it's so feeble. It's just so fucking ridiculous. People love that shit. All I gotta do, yeah. Okay, it's a bitch, because if you're going to trade the dollar, plus you have to be aware this supply and demand zone doesn't exist in Forex. Is this guy fucking out of his mind? It's never existed more. This is the most supply-demand fucking thing in the world. Like, I wonder if there's any supply up here above this candle going forward to this launching point of that. Gee, I don't know. Let's take a look. Gosh, what is this big fucking vacuum here? That's crazy. I wonder if there's any supply or demand, depending which side of the market you're on, up in here. Come on. Are you fucking kidding me? Look at that thing. It looks like it's going to keep tanking. It could keep tanking. Is it worth you to drop down to the 4-hour chart? Yeah. What the fuck? Well, we only trade under the day. Oh, yeah, see how brutal this is? But see how juicy these trades are? Can you look at this thing every 4 hours? I'm sure you could get a dumb shit robot. I'm sure you could get some guy to program. It wouldn't be that hard, right? It only enters on you define a spinning top as an 8-pip body with a 12-pip wick, whatever that fucking thing is. There's a specific robot that just trades that one fucking thing. And maybe that robot has 3 tickets. And they're scaled out. And it's a soft stop. And it's a soft entry. And every half pip, it confirms entry. Or it gets in the market. So then my next thing I'm going to write is at the market hedges. Boom, we're just getting in. Fuck it. I'm going to get the best price. I'm going to run stops on each side. Now, once we tip 7.5 pips, you're out. You lost a leg. You could trade goober entries. It breaks out. If it's really going to break out, it's really going to break out. Now, the expansion of ATR bar by bar, not 14 period smoothed out laggy bullshit like this no nonsense. And no nonsense in ICT trade completely differently. I'd probably trade more like the ICT guy. I mean, I'm sure he understands what I mean, by the vacuum. Or hopefully people would see the structure, on closing prices and say, or even bodies. Okay, if you're going to do structures on candles, it's body to body. So, and you can see the lack of volatility is by a small body. It could be a very big wick and be a small body. It still says we haven't gone anywhere in a fucking whole cycle of 4 hours. It literally means in 4 hours, if you're on the 4-hour chart, the market is unchanged in 4 hours, which means there's a delta, there's a flag, there's a pennant, there's whatever. So your entry window, if your target is taking out the higher low from the last 2 bars on a 4-hour chart, that's 8 hours of history. It's going to pop through that and might cascade into a giant vacuum that goes back like 2 weeks, 2 days. It's a big deal. If you're going to get into that and write it down, even if you're going to trade total goober and just get into as you break confirmation, close down, and we're getting in because we're down into it. Everybody, yeah, and if there's enough momentum, you can ride that bitch down, cascade like that. But if you think you're going to back test and build an algo that does that, you're fucking nuts because you're chasing it the whole fucking time. I mean, this thing's got to be so sophisticated that it's going to look back and go, oh yeah, it's not like audio. You can do that, right? In other words, you can mix down audio and it'll look ahead and it'll say, oh, there's a spike coming up. Let's adjust so it doesn't sound like it's really breathing. But you can't, the future's coming at you in this chart. You can't fucking do that. But that's, the thing about the trend lines into the future, even the cloud traders at least have the advantage of looking into the future. They've actually, that's probably why psychologically they're able to make sense of their entry, because they're saying, well, I'm projecting out into the future that this is going to be future support, and since they're doing the shift, they're creating their own MetaTrader lets you build a robot like that with a shift. You shift forward. Moving averages, it makes you think about the future, whereas if you're just up against the wall of your indicator waiting for a signal, it's a whole different mindset, in my opinion. The thing with the trend lines projected in a rectangle that you have, okay, I know that this order bank here is sell limits all next week, and a slot up here where I'm going to sell, cash out of my buys, I'm going to sell into where the sellers are coming. Hopefully I'm not going against, there's not just a big boy sitting with a cigar and some retail guy getting butt fucked. It doesn't work like that. There's a million people trading this fucking thing. The fact that you are, people assume that you're doing this trade or that trade, it's the size you're doing it at, because you could accumulate. Here, you could be buying this fucking Australian dollar here. It just made a new low. You'd be certainly scalping it to this 4-hour chart. You'd be trying to take something off along the way as it comes back up. Now, you'd have to find out what that is for how much money's in the account, how many tickets you want to run. In my case, I'm never going to trade past a 1K because I can click very quickly. So I could 88K. I could load this thing up with 400K pending and never be in anything yet. It's just finding those. Now, the way to avoid getting crushed as a market maker and catching a falling knife is you have to get in. Either, for me, the stepping stone is non-directional entry. Okay, I'm paying an insurance policy, but it's actually money management built in. Because if I'd run just pure sell stops, and I've been running some sell stops and sell limits, and I only wrote a few sell limits in here at the bottom of the rack, at the very bottom of this thing. You have to go into this tablet thing, unfortunately. So in the tablet is a whole nother array of tickets, a whole nother thing. I got the 12 hour. Now this is something I've been to try to save clicking all the other ones. These are pretty large risk tickets here. I have a every 25 pips I'm buying for 12 hours, 3K with a 100 pip stop. So when you double click this, you're really saying, okay, you know what? I'm just going to buy way the fuck down there for 12 hours. There's a completely different trade plan than saying I'm going to buy like just 5 pips deep for 30 minutes. See how that is? Like, can the market get down here in 30 minutes? You know what? That's going to be a contest. So that's the joy of putting in the market maker tickets is you're asking them to come fill you. Now on the stop entry, you're also asking that, but you're asking for a thrust. You've got to have something blow through that. Otherwise, they're just trapping you, right? You get whipsawed, but if your ratios are amazing, now the hedge is what I started talking about is in this case, if I double click this, it's going to put a buy stop and a sell stop. And if I do that, it's going to be, the ratios have to be good. So you have a 10 pip stop to make 20, 6 to make 16. You can add on to this. You can have more than one ticket. Right now I just have a 1K on each side. And the 12 hours, I'm going to sleep. I'm hitting these. So in Asia, right now, it's 9 o'clock. It's 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I'm going to say, well, I'm just going to drop this bullshit in here. Now, the ones that really set up good was, they set up real good was this dollar yen. So this blast here, and okay, so I'm just going to go to the auction theory here and just blow through this, I suppose. I might run out of tape. The hard drive's going to fill it, but just kind of like the obvious stuff here that kind of jumps out at you. This lonely wick down here, like look how they bagged that. So that was Sunday night, falls out of bed. Now you could have had, you'd have slippage here though. See, now if you had your trade plans that lasted all weekend, but it's funny how the guy that had the sell stop here, he got filled and he looked like a genius for a little bit. And then, oops, I'm just going to bail out of this for a second, get some more real estate on the screen here. Also, thing is data compression. You know, when you zoom out like this and shit, I mean, you just got to be kidding, man. Like people talk about like it's in an uptrend. Like, you fucking out of your mind? Like, dude, that's a 4-hour chart. You just like, where's your trade in there? I can't fucking see it. So here you can see, you know, oh well, here's the little stop hunt on the 4-hour where they went after so-called stop hunt. You know, this new low here, new low there. And look at how quickly that happened. Ba-bang. And they just finished out that 4-hour session up. Now, you do have a doji there, but if you're going to trade these, if you're going to put on hedges in here, you have to have your shit calibrated to this. So you really want to load up here. So you had 12 hours to get that on, pop, and you take profits here. And even if you were trapped on this leg, and so they stop you out of your, this last candle is going to blow out all the tickets that have been stacking. If you've been laying pendings in here and stacking up for hours on end, you really didn't fill too much on the south side, and it blows through it. When it's up there, you know, let's hope that you could have seen this high and thought, gosh, we should probably sell just beyond that. That is the same thing you would have said to yourself when you saw this high, we should sell just beyond that. How'd that trade work out? Okay, and you could do the old lughead count back of candles and say, oh, I'm going to go back this many candles. So that many candles qualify. Of course, this one is the big qualifier because look how many candles. It's just so silly that the wicks, you know, these are great scalps here off the top. But then when it gets all consolidated, if you're short on that, and now you put a hedge on to go long, I'm also presupposing you're not going to run trailing stops on your short here. That's all hard-coded that you're going to put a trap in there and capture. How many pips that is? Probably like 20 pips. I don't even know. I don't have the pip grid on there. So that's another thing. When I didn't have the pip grid, I just couldn't figure out why I was losing, how much money I was losing so quickly. This bottom becomes a top on wicks, so you would have to have it pending there. For you to babysit that, pull the trigger on that wick top is just, I don't know who's doing that. Look how, and of course on the sell side, we can see the actual fill on bid here. If we would have had a ticket there, we know for certain we would have got filled. We don't know so much that on the buy side. So having a buy limit here doesn't necessarily mean we got filled if the spread was too wide, because it's a bid-only chart. Also, the goober entry that you would be running is maybe a buy stop here, and of course they just made a new low, so maybe you're still holding shorts from up here. Now this is where you're layered into stuff, because if you're going to go hard binary, up, it's up. If it's up, I'm buying. If it's going down, I only trade in direction of trend. And you got all these really hard rules. Sure, you're not going to blow up the account, but sure, you're just not going to really kill it. You know, like it's possible to. Of course, you know how many currencies can you really pay attention to? So here's the euro to the yen, and you can see the trade plans in here, and this is just drastic expansion of volatility. It's just incredible. You don't need a volume indicator. It's just why would somebody even think they could take volume, apply it to this range? If you're gonna do it, go with the Bill Williams. At least he's got the fucking market facilitation index, which is saying, well, the bar's that big, it should have a lot of volume, so it's really not a big deal. This little spinning top here, like here, only filled in the short side, and here's where if you just robotically drop shit and accept the reality you're going to get trapped on a few pips here, you're putting in that trade and then this inverted gravestone here. Hopefully you can see this subtle so-called stop hunt here, and once again another attempt, but doesn't make it down. Let's imagine that's the ask, but it's not, it's the bid. And here, this trade here, you have to religiously keep putting on the same fucking hedge, because if you do not, there's two small bars here, so you'd be in the market bigger here because more robots are going to cling onto this small range. There's two small ranges there. That is not happened anywhere else on this chart. You have one small spinning top here, but then it expands. But here you have dual, and I guess you could make the argument for it engulf the body of that, but then that's way too much thinking. I'm just looking at the size of that body, and I'm looking at the size of wick to wick. Do I have a trade plan for a spinning top here? Now, granted, you got trapped long there, but you're always running tighter stops here. If you have a hedge that bought here because they lasted all day or some crazy shit, and you have still a sell stop sitting here, and you have stacks of this shit, you got to imagine that you're commingled, you're long, you're short, you're long, you're short. You cannot be binary. You just go trade options. You have to think of a blend, because there's a trade plan for this insane raid down here where they raided the low of Friday off. What a dumb shit easy trade. The launching point of the babyest fucking candles coming into Sunday night and then up. You know, without even looking back, we can see new highs, trap. Here's the classic top becomes a bottom right on wick tops. Comes back, retest, come back, retest, then come in. It's fucking. Now, this no nonsense guy is such a dumb shit that he thinks that this is manipulation. Yeah, see, they went down here and they stopped hunted these people down there. Are you fucking nuts? You don't think people were seriously getting... Like, this sideways action here is the cause for the effect. Plus, you have this giant hole down here. How does this not a supply zone or a demand zone? What the fuck is that guy talking about? Every time I think about it, I just come unwrapped. How in the fuck? I guess it's this thing people just... Well, when we're looking for a prop house, you know, like wear a coat and tie and shit. Um, yeah, see that wedge there? There's my patterns don't work. So another raid. See, but the thing is, you can't see this. If you can't see this raid into this thing, how can you see this one? Even this ticket that you bought here. Oh, shit. Even this ticket that you bought here. I gotta get my drawing tool out, so it didn't take too long. I don't know, man. That guy just blows my mind. The more I think about it, I think it's just some kind of like, what is the government was doing that thing? They always talk about, all the flat earthers talk about some project. It's like the HARP project. No, it's not that. It's the one where they gave people LSD and shit. So this is a big deal. These prices are a big fucking deal. And you come down and raid that, we never make it past this. And even if you bought this first insane price, it became a winner. If you had the wide stop. But if you martingale in, if you get in heavy as fuck here, right, that's where you would hand place these orders. Or you could just say, I'm just going to buy straight down. Either way, if you buy like this for 15 minutes, what have you, whatever you pick, I mean, all month I'd be buying here, right? This is an obvious raid zone, or this is obvious inventory, lack of inventory. Supply, demand. You could call it fucking anything. There's a hole here. That's why we're getting a triangle now and a wedge. Now I would put on the hedge. Now I'm stacking up in Asia here. Bidirectionally, it doesn't matter. Right? Boys or girls, we don't care. Buy stop, sell stop. And the longer we trade sideways, or the sideways we trade, the more we load up. We could take the approach of the opposite entry and run buy stops in a downtrend to get picked up for a retracement. Buy stop here, kind of trapped, but you wouldn't put it on because it's a small bar. How in the fuck is this not? It's just too simple, apparently. If you see small candles, put a sell stop in with a tight stop. You can still trade directionally and scalp that, can't you? God, let's hope so. But see, people say, well, that's just not a lot of pips. Okay, we'll do it on the weekly then. But then you got to wait a long fucking time for this thing to calm down on the weekly and give you. This was 3 weeks in a row. People would be like, holy shit. We're either going like this or we're going like this. And you know it's going to be brutal. It is so dynamic. I love how the market will always beat the shit out of these algo builders because really, who's expecting this? Then boom, then nothing, then dicking around. I love how the market just fucks over these guys that think they can do. Well, I got it tweaked out now. You see, I'm using a 28.5 period moving average. Comes in about right here. You see, we're getting right here. And we just run a trail. We got stopped out there. It's okay. It's okay because I'm going to come back and do it next week. It's all right. I'm just learning. I got it. Everybody has to start somewhere. We all can't just look at the thing and go, I can naked trade that. You want the moving average because you feel like it's like having an airbag in your car. I got it. You could have said the same thing with this. Look at this beautiful trend. Of course, don't you want to be the guy that gets in up here? It's like, holy shit, I rode that down. It's amazing. I rode that fucker down from the tippy top. Just kept selling. Now here's the no-nonsense hedge. Small bar. ATR dictates stop. Buy stop, sell stop. How's that trade working out? Well, if you ran a trailing protection, not too good. Break even. But if you let your profits run, see, that's the argument. I mean, you could make that argument about any fucking chart. Well, see, let your profits run worked out real good. Yeah, okay, Poindexter, but when you get below here, the big boys are buying below here, or so they say and all this stuff. The big boys already bought that and scalped it, I suppose. Some big boy, some big fat fuck. Bunch of money, doesn't care. See, this bottom becomes a top here. Well, did you take that trade? Well, I didn't see that trade. Okay. I babysat it till it popped right back. Or you could put a sell limit here. So you put the sell limit in. and maybe they don't fill you. So that sucks. Like, I put a sell limit right here. Nobody came and got me. That's why you got to put one here. You got to put one here. You got to put a sell stop here. If you're really a bear, you got sell limits here. You got sell stops here. You're going to do the goober entry. You're going to do the limit entry. You're going to do it's up. I'm selling. There's 3 trades. It's up in a downtrend. That's your sell signal. You don't do the Forex. Maybe you do. You sell here. Okay, Forex, hang out. I mean, Forex. No Nonsense says sell here. Confirmation, broke out, and big structure broke out back here. Okay, you're winning. You're like telling me you're bragging about it, but dude, why don't you sell here also? You can't see the other guy's trade? I only build my own algos. What do you think? I'm cheating on my wife or something? Next thing you're gonna say I'm like banging a neighbor's dog. You're not? I wonder why you were like, I'll take your dog for a walk. But this is a trap, obviously. Here, the buy stop here theory is like, well, see, it didn't work there. Yeah, but you have to have a bigger picture, right? What time frame is this? Let's hope. Daily chart. So daily chart, completely different. Another thing. No Nonsense is on the daily chart. At what point did he decide, I bet he sold here? I already see the guy's entry. Okay, he sold here. He's like, yeah, look at this giant fucking move. Like, I'm a genius, right? Here, look at it, bought. We wrote it to here. Shut the fuck up. Man, I've been following No Nonsense for years now. Yeah, but who's the guy buying this? I always wondered, who's the guy that bought down here? I never bought down there. Can't you see? It's, man, oversold just don't happen in Forex either. Dude, you gotta wake up. You're not woke. Yeah, woke. No Nonsense woke Forex. See this top become a bottom right there. Boom, boom, boom. Hey, trapped. This is where I got trapped. See, all my moving averages. I was very bullish at this point. And I got in here, like the No Nonsense said. I mean, who's not getting burned? I got to go to the No Nonsense Discord and just, what do they call it? Peek through the door there and see what. You just love what people say. You got to love them to death. They're so cute. Oh, yeah, well, what we're doing here is, can't you see? Have you seen what Europe's making? Their widgets are bigger than. There's no supply and demand. It's over the counter. Don't forget, No Nonsense doesn't realize this is over the counter market. So over the counter stocks look just like this. So Bitcoin's over the counter too, I understand. Yeah, the stocks are all regulated. Commodities have limits. You can't fucking orange juice if it goes up. Yeah, it's locked limit. Unless they expand the limits, yes, it's a controlled market in that sense. But dude, come on. It's over the counter trading. Penny stocks. Think penny stocks, think Forex. Yeah, it's out of control. But there's still supply and demand. There's still an up and down. What else? Yeah, I was going to blow through all these charts. I just get pissed off. I mean, just I don't know what to say. Okay, so we're still tumbling down here. I'm not going to trade that time frame. The 1 hour chart. I like the 1 hour chart. Now here's where, yeah, this is noise, right? It looks like noise to one person. But if you're in the middle of a position here, say you're in a short position, and you're holding, and you're like, okay, I'm just going to ride this short out because I think it's going to tumble into this hole here. Yeah, certainly you go to the 1 hour chart, you're like, oh God, dude, that's just too much signals. And is it really tradable? I think if you zoom out, so here's where you can see supply and demand. If you zoom out this far, you can see this big hole. So you can see the scalpers made their money. The first dip in there, then they dump. Then it becomes a trading range, and the range traders just feast on this bullshit. Every time it keeps probing new lows, people are willing to buy into that at a profit eventually, and this is the new trading deep discount basement trades here. So this one goes back way into here. Huge feeding zone. No, you might call a stop, huh? Yeah, the guy that's got a trailing stop in the daily just got stopped out. So yeah, for No Nonsense, he got stopped out there. But the 1 hour traders are going, okay, I made my pips. I'm good. Like they got in here, right? They got triggered. They took his stop, and maybe his stop was way down here. But let's imagine he had a trailing stop here. This is the low of the day. This is the low of the next day. Come and rate it. Make money. try to rate it again, but now it just gets all choppy woppy. But if people are holding here, long or short, or we're going to get filled here on the next goober confirmation, it closes down, we get short, we have a stop here, we ride it down, we make money, we're no nonsense. Or are you going to be the guy that says, well, fuck that, I'm selling right. Every time it comes up here, I'm going to fucking keep selling, and I'm a scalp, I'm a scalp, I'm a scalp. I'm trying to make money during this bullshit, and I'm looking at the big picture. I'd like to ride a small position down. It's a bottomless pit. Certainly, the laziest trade in the world is, this is the high of the day, right? This is the high of the day. This is another high of the day. We'll put sell limits in that window. We'll get filled here. We could scalp to here. This is supposed to be the breakout pullback launch window. Never happened. And I think you wouldn't want to be trading dojis in the 1 hour. It's just, you'd have a robot do that if you could do it, but the spread would beat the shit out of you. So the 4-hour chart, I could see it, right? If you went to the 4-hour chart, it's conceivable that you could trade a strategy like that in combination with the limit strategies. So even that you traded this breakout or the small area for the scalp down, if you're buying on limits into this thing, or you're selling on limits above here, counter trend, you have to take advantage of this low volatility. These are the lowest, the tightest pip trades, stops you'll ever run. But are you going to hold, this is the 4-hour chart, so this is a 1 week from here to here. Are you getting in here and saying, holy shit, I'm just gonna ride that and dump? Or are you holding it and buying on pullbacks? You get a pullback here, buy. Every time it's down, you buy. So there's all sorts of criteria for pulling the trigger. Now, if it's down, you buy. These are the only bearish bars. 3 bearish bars here, kind of bearish, but there's only 4K you can buy here at the market. Otherwise, you're chasing everyone you're buying into it. But you might say, well, but see, I buy every bullish bar and I'm in more K than you. Okay, but your risk is higher because I'm long from only these and you're chasing. You got to maybe tighten your stops up, and then you get stopped out here and you don't get to ride that, and then they come after you. You're in so big here because you're so bullish at this point. And this is what people would say about this, is there's some poor retail guy that's like, oh my God, it's going to keep going up. I got a trend line, I got everything. And then he's in so heavy that this pullback in 8 hours just explodes, and he's just like, I run a trailing stop back here, and those fuckers stop me out. Yeah, we can all see that dumb shit trade too. Hopefully. I mean, you should be able to look at this and say, according to your rule set, I mean, everybody should be able to take somebody say, yeah, you can't have one trade plan because that's retarded. Yeah, I check my ATR. If it's 1% of my, the size of my bathroom, then I get in here. Yeah. But isn't this the best entry? Is that a supply and demand zone, or is it just me? Here, another strategy. Sell stops trailing. I got filled. Look, I made some money. I put my stop to break even. Broke even. I'm getting there. But it is tough to sell into this. People are like, holy shit, you're selling in that? Yep. And then look how it comes right back to the breakout point. Comes back to that wick, but then you got to get the fuck out. You got to say, oh, you know what? That is a breakout. That is confirmation. Broke up, pull back, the confirmation, people get in, or just the fact that we run out of sellers. And the people that sold there, the reason why it's confirmation is because if you sold that and it comes back to this, the so-called hedge funds will just go, well, let's just flip it. Let's just get out. It's like we never got in. It's like it never happened. We're not going to lose any money. That's what fuels that move. Breakout, pull back to that top wick. This wick here, breakout. You're also buying because it's down. It's down, and you're for the moment your algo's killing it. Until you get into this shit, that's why the no-nonsense guy, he's just kidding himself. You think you just fucking build a goddamn algorithm for this shit? Look at this fucking sell-off. Are you nuts? Just mind-blowing. You just can't even, how you think like that? Sure, I guess if you're not really trying to, deal with reality, right? If reality's your enemy, He's talking about the Singapore dollar. Yeah, you can trade the Singapore dollar. Dude, you're looking at bid prices. What a fucking idiot. Mexican peso, we can trade that too. What is that? I can't even. Dude, how do you find the time for that shit? My head comes unwrapped. Every time I look at one of these charts, I'm like, oh my god, look at this shit. This is the daily yen. Are you kidding me with this? The only way I can see to even fucking think about trading this is you're going to buy everything below here and you're going to dump it at the scalp window. Buy, dump. Then buy this, then dump. Then buy this and dump. And then, unfortunately, you'd have to sell into that. Unfortunately. Not much of a scalp here, but your non-directional doji entries. Your only chance to buy. Your only chance to sell. Sell if it's up. Buy if it's down. Why does that go past people? If you bought because it's down here, but you must have known that you got to save some dry powder for the possibility that you close down here. You start filling your limits, which you were hoping was going to happen. Your fear of missing out has to have a wide stop because eventually that does make money if you had a wide enough stop. I don't see a difference. Every chart I've ever seen, if you find the right time frame, you see the available trades. Now, granted, if the market keeps churning north endlessly for 40 hours in the 4-hour chart, which is totally possible, there's no fucking place to buy if your criteria is only buy pullbacks, because there ain't none. Then you have to say, well, I have to get in on these dojis then. Imagine that was a bullish doji. So is that. But now, a part of you has to say, God, we filled everything above this is kind of like, wow. The pressure's off, and this became a bottom. By the way, that little ledge there broke out, pulled back here, and it's like, oh, it's getting kind of spooky quiet. And this is where you're going to beat up the account, because if you take too many breakouts that you get trapped in, this one here, it paid the rent. Like this is a flag, and you could have a non-directional trade. Your buy stops only got triggered on like this. Right? You get a little trapped there, but if you had super confirmation orders, your buy stops start here, and your sell stops start there. If you didn't get the fuck out of that trade with something as it came into that new low, then that's, you just basically came all the way back to here and you're like, oh fuck, this is your last chance to get out if you're a bear. It shouldn't be that hard to look at the chart and say, well, what with a dumb shit strategy like I'll just buy below here, where would I get out? Well, you got to get out there for the scalp, because that's going to be where when the bottoms become tops, just like this bottom, and then you got to get out. Right, if you were waiting for that target, people did get out. So I got like, okay, and they got quiet. And the confirmation people made money on this. They put a buy stop and a sell stop, and they rode it to here. And their trailing sell stop stopped them out here. Now, could you build a robot that just trades that one little thing? Sure. But he's going to mistake this clean move for that, and that's why you have to have like 40 or to 50 robots that are trading like he scalps a little bit out here, he scalps a little bit out there, he kind of gets very, so you don't fucking blow the account up. He's going to do like, oh, but if he has really wide take profits, he's going to cash out here as it cascades into your other trade plan, which even if you're getting out of your shorts, you're technically buying. That's how you're making money. You're buying back short. So it's a two-way street. It's ebb and flow. There is no fucking guy out there hunting your stops. Come on, people. There's fucking totally round. We'll stop it. No nonsense guy's still caught on that fucking shit. I don't know. His whole view is like a victimhood. Like we can't. Like he just thought the whole thing is supply and demand. Like this guy's got gold. Yeah, explain the gold rally to me again on supply and demand. Was there all of a sudden he's like, hey man, somebody overmelted the gold. Like look at that. What fucking made gold go up like that? No, it's financial. It's a flight to safety, as they would call it. But it's just the wealth effect. I mean, money's being moved around, and people have circuit breakers built in it, just like you have a stop. The hedge fund has a stop. When it gets this far, we get the fuck out. you can see the effect of all the participants in the market by the fact that the market's not going anywhere, or it is going somewhere. And once it goes somewhere, it's kind of like over. I think the volatility is gone for a while. I think all the markets are going to consolidate now because that volatility rush, it's gone. We're coming into the fourth quarter. It's going to go to Dressville, and I love how these bozos, like, I hear this all the time. Empowered trading, all this bullshit. Yeah, the markets in the summer, they're just so, like, untradeable. They're just so slow. I heard No Nonsense do a fucking thing a month ago saying dumb shit like, well, there's just no signals out there. There's no volume out there. There's no trades out there. And people in the chat are like, in his comments, like, there is for me. Well, no shit. We're not retarded. It's no nonsense. How does he make it to his, how does he hit record? And his thing about, well, don't ask me a question, go back and watch all my material. Dude, I'm not a masochist. I barely got through what I got through. Between him and ICT, you should do a composite. They probably wouldn't, if you have them overlay talking on top of each other, maybe they couldn't copyright strike. You kind of butchered it, like. So, but it doesn't have to be that way. And the fact that he's got all these subscribers, yeah, people just love that free ride. Edgar Winter and the White Trash, free ride. There's that Foghat free ride. But it's just not a free ride. You just can't build some fucking, well, I back tested, and you know what? I tweaked it a little bit. Dude, I did that. I'm just saying I did it. If you want to have an anxiety attack, it's the way to go. Because you're going to see that you could tweak it to smithereens and nothing's going to fucking do better than the raw data. I get the fact that you want your girlfriend may not look good with her clothes off, so you're going to buy her all these outfits. You're going to put a Kamusha cloud on her ass and ask her if she looks, does this Kamusha make my ass look? But dude, you can't do that to the market. You can to an extent. Right? You put the miter box, tied to the bed. But you can do that. I mean, it's not that toys aren't fun in the bedroom. But you've got to be realistic, people. Nobody breaks out a fib gauge when they're on a date and says, can I see your breasts in proportion to your molars? You know what? You're almost a 618, but I gotta let you go. I gotta throw you back. I'm gonna cut the line. I don't know, but maybe I'm missing something. I'm still yet to see the no-nonsense guy say shit like, yeah, I'm fucking seriously long crude right now, technically speaking. I mean, I can't tell you how he did it. He refuses to show you his algo because, like, I didn't work this hard at it and I'm just going to give it away to people. Or the favorite argument is, if I showed it to everybody would trade it because it's such a winning strategy, the markets would just stand still. What in fucking... I mean, on any other planet, but don't forget, there's people that think that because there's a hurricane, the world's coming to an end. You're on a ship with people like that. How is it that No Nonsense's crowd of over 100,000 subscribers, in that basket of people, there's not people that are complete fucking morons? There has to be people that think that the world's coming to an end. The sky is falling. The Chicken Little, the banks are like, why, thank God for... But apparently, now this is the thing, don't forget, he's helping people that were probably trading without one fucking clue. So what he's been able to do is tell people, go to the daily chart and wait for a signal. Wait for Hell Bob, okay? Just don't go to Mexico, but wait for Hell Bob. Don't be neutered in Mexico, but Hell Bob's coming, brother. We don't know. We'll never know. We may never know. But it is fascinating, and he's got that same distorted clip of music. People love routine. People love some type of anchor, even if it's a boat anchor and they're drowning. They love that certainty and happiness. I mean, granted, I love the Brady Bunch opening theme song to some degree because I want to see what happens to Marsha. But, it's trading. Come on, can't we be a little bit more intellectual? And this blackboard with the fonts, this guy, he's just going to go on forever. Then he had, I guess his only kind of thing where he was shilling was he was like, sign up with this broker. Then he couldn't get it to work. Yeah, we're having a problem with IG broker or something. What's the problem? I don't know, man. When you have your you have your oar in too many fishes. But yeah, I'm trying to punish my computer because my power supply went out on the big computer. So I thought if I didn't use it, that it would go, oh, it's gonna be like that, huh? And it would that would never happen again. Like all the devices in the world would take note of my cruel, unusual, like kind of, you know, just basically pulling the plug on it. So the tablet thing is a real easy way to just in the middle of the night see, okay, I think I just want to buy down in this thing, in this zone. And the longer your tickets last, the more risk you're putting on because you're exposing yourself to a possible catch a falling knife. This is a limit order capture of price. In a basket like this, Ryan Brown is trading a basket, but he's kind of getting at the market, I think, on a basket. But if you just capture an area, and then you could still get out before your hard-coded targets. There's no, like if you have a clue what's going on, or you kind of have the wrong script, you have a greedy script, and it's just not that kind of market. You have to admit that. You can't just because you wrote a 150 pip take profit with a 25 pip stop expect that you're going to be able to execute that anytime in the next 3 months on the 4-hour chart in a currency that barely moves that much. So it's so volatility dependent because if you're going to really do the math of what, if you want to trade a breakout burst and be done with it, or do you want to ride some big trend? Do you want to build a position during consolidation that's non-directional? They all work. It's just that, well, that's why it is ridiculous to say that you're going to build the algo and it's just going to be like, okay, at the, you know, well, that's what this guy has done. No nonsense, guys. Getting in at like, I think like an hour before stocks close or something, or an hour after. S&P closes at 5, I think. But, or no, 4:10 or something. Just after. So, if you're going to do that where, oh, you know, the market, it's really like getting in Asia. But what if you got in Asia based on if you went and traded 28 currencies like this guy supposedly does, looking for the quietest Asian session on a 28 pairs. So if I was going to do what he's doing is a signal is that I would have bars that turn a hard color that I've chosen when they're below a certain pip range. So I would just be scanning for, and of course the spread math would have to be taken into that. So you're going to say 20 pip bar with a 2 pip spread is really looking for an 18 pip bar. That is the other problem is in Asia the spreads are wide. So there's no free lunch because you got to some point say, okay, well, maybe we should accumulate at the market. And then you're going to have to say, maybe we should accumulate on limits against each other. So you buy limits and sell limits that are shallow because the market's quiet. Now, given really good ratios, if you build a position during a quiet stage, you will make, even if you're trapped, but that's why you're going to buy shallow. So it's counterintuitive. It's also contradicting itself because you're saying, well, what the fuck? You're going to buy or sell? You're going to build a position with tight stops. So whichever way explodes out of there. That's if you're going to non-directionally do it. Now, you can still directionally do it. And you can still do the fucking stupid ass, like, it's up, I'm buying. It just takes, it's harder to do that trade because you're really putting yourself at exposure to, if it went up, you missed the entry. If it's up really big, you have to say to yourself, I should have been in something. And this is like, the fear of missing out is there for a reason because the cure is to buy small positions with a wide stop. You're not afraid anymore. So some guy sent me an email saying fear of missing out. There's no fear if you okay, if it's there, you can't deny it. You don't try to be Spock and say I don't have any emotions. You know, okay, I'm fear of missing out. That's my fear of missing out trade. Now I'm going to put my fear of missing out, well, a limit to fear of missing out, because you put the limit in too deep. You're like, holy fuck, what if they don't fill me? But you cured that because you bought one at the market. So you buy one at the market, you buy one on a limit, and then you buy one at a stop, like a true goober, and you put one like 10 pips above you to buy because you're like, wow, if it really goes up, it's really going up. And you go to sleep, and the market does explode. It unfolds in the scenario that you thought was going to happen. In this currency right now, this is the dollar yen. You may have, now in a no-nonsense, low-frequency trading, which is what he is, you just put your fucking buy limits in here all next week or all next month. This is the easiest trade in the world. Now, obviously, when it gets down here, you want to be buying a big position. And that's going to scalp out of something to here now. And you could have some Fibonacci bullshit in there. They could all be Fib ratios, for God's sakes. But think about buying 250K. So you have 250 tickets in one case laid out in here. You could write that script at this broker. You have to have well, it depends which broker you have, because not every broker's going to let you drop 300 tickets. You're going to have to, or maybe you're only allowed 100 tickets. That's going to matter there too. Now, in a nano account, that's going to let you put in 1,000 tickets. You're not even going to know. You're going to make so much money percentage-wise, more money than a big boy percentage-wise, but you're also not managing a fucking giant. I mean, how can you even compare institutional trading to retail trading? It's not even the same. Nobody's trading with that much money that they can afford to just make 20%. What the fuck? I don't get it. Of course, that's why this guy, the VP, he's the vice president, but that's the attraction of the prop houses. You have a giant chunk of money. But he's talking about these desk fees costing like $1,000 a week. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? I'd rather get stopped out of a dumb shit trade at $1,000 on a fucking giant single standard lot. Let's put a 100 pip stop on a standard lot. Fucking desk fee. People just want to be. I guess people they want a job in the financial world. But I always thought this was a do-it-yourself project. Like when I first saw it, I thought, holy fuck! And then people ask me, "Are you going to be a broker?" I'm like, "You fucking nuts? I'm a broker schmoker. I got a brain. I figured this out." And I stared at a corn chart for hours one night thinking, am I missing something? Because I read all these books and I was like, I must be missing something. And now I get it. I would actually have a trade plan for that chart now. I'd be like, this is no brainer, dude. I thought there was something I really needed to really, really know to trade it. And it turned out it was just like, no, it's so disappointing that it's such a simple, stupid trade plan. Yeah, it's kind of more intriguing this way is to put these limits in because it's more exciting for me. Will they fill me? Sure, I could buy one at the market, or I could sell one at the market too. I could be a bear here, and I would sell one at the market and I'd put sell limits all the way above me because I'm a bear. Or, like I said, you could play a game, and here's where maybe you do want 28 currencies. If your criteria is in the no-nonsense wouldn't look at a weekly chart, which I just don't get that either. Why wouldn't you look at a weekly chart? If you're having noise issues, you just go to the bigger time frame. That's the oldest trick of the book. Look at this weekly entry here. Now, granted, you got trapped up here, but look at the expansion in volatility in ATR. Not 14 period. That's some kind of laggy. I can't even look at something like that. He's got to be kidding about that. You can't be using 14. Just use a true range of each week and go, holy shit. I think they trap people like this is not going no higher. And look at this giant hole that's been filling up. I mean, gee, I wonder what would happen if that got filled up. And then what would happen if I bought the low of the year? Gosh, could I make any money on that? Well, you can't just get in down there. What are you, fucking retarded? You have... I bet there's divergence on these two here. It's a two-period divergence, but then see, opened up lower. In golf, though, that engulfing pattern works. That's a hammer on the monthly. Oh, it's trapped below the floor. See, once you see stuff like, well, this vacuum here, um, like this was a big void, and then once we went below here, the sellers are supposed to come in here. Bottoms become tops. Not so much, huh? And what about this area? Could there be a supply in here? No. Oh my God. What about this one? Oh, looks like somebody made some money on that. But you cannot have some fucking. You can. Moving average. Oh, I sold here. Oh, I sold here. I made money. Oh, I sold here. Maybe not so much here now, but yeah, I guess. But look at all these easy trades here. You buy this, you scalp to here. Low volatility on the weekly. Wow. This is not a bad trade here. And then the volatility there's no low volatility entries down here. By the way, you couldn't just live off of this kind of entry here alone. Here you got trapped. Here it's a nice clean break. Because if you have a trade plan for this being really down and really down and down again, you're in three positions. They're all winners. If you've got some insane stop, and maybe you were putting buy limits at the new lows, maybe you were buying down here and you said, oh my God, if they ever make it down here. So, your fear of missing out is totally triggered. When you see this down, you're like, I got to buy that. Fuck. Besides, it's already filling your limits. And so you've already committed this risk, but you're like, oh, I like this trade. And then you're like, here's where people shit their pants. It's going lower. I'm sure you put on a daily chart, you're like, ooh, who's getting in there and buying? Are you nuts? Let's go. Oh, that was a daily chart. Oh, that's down here. So people are just shitting their pants here. But the guy that buys, he buys on limits and he buys here because you don't want to miss that. And don't forget, he might have even had all his limits here where all the stops are being triggered. Yes, somebody's going the opposite way on that trade. This is also these people cashing out of this daily. Patterns don't work, but this is called sideways, low volatility, breakout. But you'd say, you got to almost trade that non-directionally because if you were looking for this move, which did happen later, then they just crushed you. But also, when you hedge in, the money management's built in. If you let this play out now, if you run a trailing stop and protect that, which I don't, I have it so it cashes out. And if I see it here, I just dump. And then I reload. So I put the hedge back on. So I also rinse and repeat. I'm going to dump out, and I'm going to get back in. If I was going to have to trade 28 pairs, I'd be like, okay, well, let's just get the fuck out here. We'll get back in. We'll get out and get back in. So I'm going to go flat, and then maybe there's some stragglers in, and then here's a decent little blast out trade on the daily once again. But see, stop hunts to here. But these kind of trades here, no nonsense is not going to trade that or that because of that criteria, because he's waiting for this big. Maybe he's got a 50-period moving average up here, and now it's time to look for a sell into the moving average, whatever kind of harebrained schemes people have. And they will trigger occasionally, but not all the time. And in the future, if the volatility dries up and you've modeled everything to the past where it's high volatility, or the volatility kicks up and there's no fucking way your system's going to run because it's off the charts, literally. Like if things get really hairy, and things spill here and here. Don't forget, it's kind of obvious Trump's going to win. So there's stabilization in the fundamental view, and that doesn't mean anything because things could be completely stable, no wars, no nothing, and some dumb shit's going to say, well, it's not. It's going to happen. Some smart guy's going to go, wow, Los Angeles has like typhoid. It's nuts. Yeah, because all these fucking people that think they can just float. I mean, you're just going to chill because you're such a loser? Dude, get the fuck out of here. You can't just sleep on the streets and shoot up. Of course, they're giving them needles and everything. So what are you going to do, right? It's the rat thing. You feed them, they get obese and cancer. But that's the thing about trading. It keeps you fucking mentally stimulated, because what if the markets were all fucking... How boring would it be if everything was like, oh yeah, my algo's working great, next problem. It's never going to be like that. So guaranteed it's never a dull moment. Oh, sorry, here I got a little problem with my foot. I got a little bit too comfortable here and foot fell asleep. So it doesn't do well waking up. Man, don't let your foot fall asleep. I should have some fucking chip on my leg to let it beep if it falls asleep. If it starts to go, oh, I'm zooming out. And this kind of stuff drives me crazy. Like, people are zooming out on this thing going, yeah, I don't know. What do you think about the dollar yen? Holy fuck, I don't know. I mean, at what point on here? It looks kind of noisy. Like, it's kind of rangy. But then you go like this, and then you go to like the 5-minute chart, like, holy fuck. There's a spread here. It's pretty brutal. What is this? Oh, sorry. This is not the dollar yen. Yeah, dollar yen. So, you know, let's see all the manipulation. Oh, gosh, it's just such a cruel game. But yeah, I mean, I'm just trading. I'm scalping this thing. So I'm on this. This is the broker I'm trading with. They're charging me a round trip fee. Commissions. Just under a quarter pip. I'm not trading standard lots. This thing came up. I'm running different templates on here, so that kind of just came up there. Here it is, 100 pip grid. So here I am buying at the market. I'm buying the market, but I'm buying on limits too. So here's my limit. Here's my double clicks I'm running on the tablet, by the way. 8 hours. This is very aggressive. 8-hour script. Now this does get stopped out. If you get excited about buying, and this is 6 to 18 with a 30 pip stop, I think it's like about a 4K in there. Master stop in that, I think. Of course, the internal workings of that, you'd have to... here's a great place to put a hedge on right now. So I would put the hedge on. I double click all these. Recently I've just been testing with the double click everything just to put in the diversification factor. We have 16 pip stops, 10 pip stops. I'm going to have to add on to that. This scalp is a buy scalp, so everything that says scalp of the market's buy in there. These are super tight stops. I mean, ridiculous. This is like you're just asking to get stopped out. 7 to make 9, 7 to make 7. But it's all in there. The trades is the kind of like money management section here. Like close all profitable. So if I'm up across the account, I'm going to just get out. Or I could say close all. So this is like a total bail refresh. I also have the very bottom of this rack under Z. ZZ, I just put ZZ to force it to be at the bottom. But PSY means profit per symbol. So if you're on, say, gold, and you hit the profit button, it gets you out of gold. Gold's at a fragile point here. Looks like it might have had it. Like here's another perfect time, daily time top comes about. But see how sloppy it is? See how they come and stop on there? We got to get above this now. Otherwise, we're just going to start tumbling to here, I suppose. But, you know, this stuff, you know, who's really, anybody got the patience? Oh, because you keep selling at the trend line here, and then you trend line crossover, breakout, pull back. But look at this launch of gold. Once it gets above here, the scalpers have their fun, but they get confirmation and then just gushing into fresh territory here. A lot of range trading there. Yeah, so the gold run up. You know, summer's just so boring in the markets. You know, nothing really moves in the summertime. Harebrained shit, people say. The markets are pretty objective about reality. They're pretty clean. They're just there, you know. So I am selling the pound as it goes up. So I have, this is the only sell tickets I have, unfortunately. I have these, which I think I might have posted before, but I'm going to put a separate link for the indicators. The templates have to be in the root file, and then the of MetaTrader And everything else is inside of MQL4. So the indicators and the scripts are in there, but the templates are inside of the actual. So these are all sell limits. These are sell stops. 15-minute sell stop, 1 hour sell stop, and 30-minute, 15-minute sell stops. Very tight. These aren't really great trades here because you're only making 20 pips, risking 20. It's just not the best, but I'm just doing it 2 hours, 1 hour, 3 hours just to get my feet wet, as they say. It made a little bit of money today on the euro. I sold this attempt to cross the line today. We were trying to get above this thing. We never made it, but I sold up into that. A few pips coming back. This is the 100-yard line, 100-yard line. This is the 20. This is the 50, and this is the 25s. So here I know exactly what script to drop on the tablet. So this is how I run it. I'll come over here and say, okay, for the next 4 hours, I'm going to buy this. I'm going to buy this area. And I don't think 15 minutes is worth it because it's just, I'm going to last all night on that. Another rack I go to is this one here. Also, these trees, you can create any kind of tree structure you want here as far as what you label that. I think you can go about 5 trees deep before MetaTrader won't let you. So here I'm going to go aggressive, 15 pips to 35 with a 50 pip stop for 8 hours. So that's set up for you got to go to sleep on that. This is the super aggressive. This is 6 to 18. 8 hours. So I want the market to plunge before I trigger that again, or I'll have to write a different script that actually captures a deeper area. That's the only way around that is to do that. Here is a very aggressive 30-minute 5 pips to 18. So this is my favorite trade in Asia. If we spike down in a half an hour, but you got to keep on nailing that every 15 or every hour or whenever. This one, 4 hours for 10 pips, looks to me like that's a good fit for now. The magic is when it sells off, because what is the chance that this market is going to do something like this? What are the chances that it's going to go up and down? I really don't care, it's going up and down here because this happens so quickly. Okay, that's the 4-hour chart. So in 4 hours, and look how it turned on a dime. This is 1 o'clock, 5, 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time chart. Look at this thing about face. It's just amazing. Right there. It just turns on a dime. Doesn't quite make it to that, but right in there and just... So, decent spread. And I think I got 501 leverage here, so... No, I'm only like a 50K, I think. Here's... Scenarios, we have to come down here within 4 to 8 hours. And this is all hard-coded. I still could drop it. Since I'm on the laptop now, I could come over to the other. So if I go back to the top of this. Okay. I guess this is the one I uploaded, so. It doesn't have those limit drops in here, I don't think. Yeah, they're packed in there. Anyways, when you download it, it's probably going to be this, but that's all right. Here's the single version. Nobody cares, trust me. Because I don't see the limit drops in here. It was in the other broker. But it's inside of the site where also the garbage is. Here is the singular approach. These are all one case. So I wrote this all on the tablet. A little difficult to do, but here it's like total diversification. Each one is its own. You're risking $1 here to make $1.20. Imagine there's no spread or nothing. 3 pips deep. Here you can just jump in 5 pips, 4 hours. Now it's very custom here because it's almost like hand placed. There's 20 pips deep for 3 hours. I wouldn't get. I would go for this 12-hour 35 pips deep because that's an obvious place to get in. and another 40 pips 12 hours. So I made these, like, I know I want to buy down there in 12 hours, you know. By 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, if we could make it down here, yeah, I'll buy that. With a 33 pip stop to make 24 pips, not the best ratio. Here's a better ratio, but this is all custom singles. Here's a good ratio. You're going to get 20 pips deep with a 20 pip stop to make 40 pips, 3 hours to get there. Here's all day. You got all day to get 20 pips down to make 60 pips with a 20 pip stop. You don't want to stack up too many of these, so at that point you may want to hold down the Alt key and move some of these tickets around if you think you've created too much of a hotspot, because the idea is to catch a falling knife with, you don't want to stack the fingers up. You don't want to lose 2 fingers in one or 2 pips. Here's the kind of my favorite 10 pips in 4 hours. But see, now I'm duplicating too much. So here again, I buy the same. Now here I'll do the singles. So here I'm going to just say, you know what? I'm just fucking lazy. I'm 8 hour. I'm going to put 8 hours and 12 hours in. You know, this is just. You're really broken the risk down in this situation to. You know, this is $2 to pull the trigger here. If they even get the market down there that low. So I will build a position as it's quiet on the long side of the market. It could still tank. This is where I would put the hedge on also. So the money management thing is that if I go to hedge mode now, and I build up a hedge here because you have to, because it's quiet. And maybe I get an initial sell-off that I could cash out of it. This is like a set it and forget it as far as the market's telling you, bracket it, it's quiet. So this is a completely legitimate trade plan. At the moment now, if it goes up, oh, that's great because I'm adding to my market orders. I'm already long. And if it goes down, I could say, oh, looks like it's going on a stop hunt here. I'm short a little bit, so I could cash out and take advantage of that. And if it's coming into my limits, then it's kind of cushioning any type of drawdown. And the insurance policy, when you're hedging, this is just how it is. You know, you're kind of paying insurance. You're paying a little bit of a premium for that. The whipsaw is what you're paying for. But when it really takes off, you know, when it's really, really, it's really a wolf. It's not the boy that cried wolf anymore. Then you're going to make the money back. So I'm up $8 here at the moment. So yeah, the next hour. Now, if this thing takes off, I'm not going to touch it. I'm not going to chase it too bad, because the whole point of building a position when the market's dead and nothing's going on is that you just sit back and let it unfold. Now, if you are waiting for the no-nonsense confirmation signal, it's pretty tough. I don't know how he does it. I still haven't seen him do it. So he did have a trade where he was short crude. I hope that worked out as the market spiked up, because, you know, he built an algorithm. I don't know if it included the. Oh, another thing I heard, which just pissed me off, was these people are touting this bullshit neural net again, where, oh, I got this robot that can pick out words like cornhole and dildo, and it's going to trade based on that. I'm like, are you fucking retarded, dude? You think they're, like, how many of these things are running, and they're all running in unison? Oh, yeah, well, they're so correct. Oh, God. Yeah, maybe it's going to tell you volatility. If it turns out Trump really is a girl, yeah, the volatility is going to kick up, but the direction? Well, yeah, don't you understand? Like, these algos are all dialed in. Like, sorry, no. Market's just going to be like a natural, really, you know, I get the fact people want to manage their lawn. I put weed eater on there. You know, I got cancer now, but with that Roundup out there. But you just can't manage this shit. It's an organic phenomena. And Bitcoin stabilized there at 10 grand. I think all that thing's dead in the water. I think everything's dead in the water. We expect gold to drift now, and everything exploded, man. You know, when the bond market inverted and the world didn't come to an end, people were like, a little volatility. It's just gonna be fucking paint dry for the rest of the year. Probably the rest of the next year. I don't know, but yeah. So having trade plans for conditions, not for like custom built. I don't see it, man. I just love to see it. If people have that, I just like to see it run, you know. Like throw something at me, like, yeah, you know what? It's just the market's just too chaotic. It's too fucking random. It spazzes out. Yeah, it might hit that price, but the ride there is so rough. Who could afford to ride it in a big enough position to make money on that? I think I just disconnected my computer. Anyways, I must have pulled the plug on the fucking. Here, please hold. See, technology's not what it used to be. Yeah, I'm up on the trade. See, the broker turned me off because they knew I'm winning. Oh, they'll let you win for a little bit, but then, oh, sorry, you just. Oh, there you go. That wonderful sound of reconnect. Bring. Anyways, I'm gonna see if I can upload this thing. It looks like maybe it made it through there. It's hard to say. Anyways, yeah, I'm still alive, unfortunately.